Hi everyone, Danielle Noyes here with your Tuesday Insights, the deeper dive into what's going on with the weather over the next several days. Here's what we're going to cover. The big weather story is the heat, is the humidity the next several days, and that will equal thunderstorms, but not every day. And we're going to talk about why coming up, when we won't be as sticky. We do get a little bit of relief temporarily that's on the way. Weekend update and potential tropical system. We took a look at it yesterday. I'll give you an update on where that stands as well. Speaking of the tropics, we have an updated tropical section as a part of our beach and boating forecast, which gets updated 3 times a week, daily updating maps. That's as a part of our 1 Degree Outside enthusiast membership. We've got 4 different membership tiers. All the info you need is at membership.onedegreeoutside.com on how to sign up. Now, yesterday, rainfall amounts were nothing in some spots, to a few hundredths to a few tenths. But do you notice where we had some heavier totals? And that prompted the flash flood warnings yesterday in western Massachusetts down through Connecticut, where we have had about 1 to 3 inches of rain that fell in some spots from some of the slow-moving thunderstorms. That's a testament of how much moisture's been in the atmosphere. And that's kind of been the case across other areas of the country as well, with localized flooding in southern Texas again yesterday. There will be a risk today and into tomorrow from the northern plains into the Midwest. In fact, for the day on Wednesday, the risk of severe weather is greatest from Milwaukee down through Chicago, this yellow shaded area. And that's where we may have some brief spin up tornadoes, some damaging wind gusts. The flooding threat extends even farther, though, back down into northern portions of Kansas. And then another little bullseye here for some localized flash flooding potential from northeast Ohio and then stretching back through a lot of central Pennsylvania and far northern New Jersey as well. That's as a frontal system will approach, and that means some thunderstorms for us during the day on Thursday as well. Wait, what's this area of low pressure down across the Gulf? That's the one that we took a look at yesterday. It's actually over the east coast of Florida now, but do you see the area highlighted for some flash flood potential on Thursday? And that's along the Gulf Coast states with some of that moisture that is going to continue to move over central Florida. So we've got this little weak area of low pressure, this cluster of thunderstorms that will continue to kind of slowly meander towards the west here as it emerges off the west coast of Florida. National Hurricane Center's bumped it up, you remember from this time yesterday, to about a 40% chance of becoming a named system by the time we get to the middle and end of the week as it comes back over the Gulf, tries to organize just a little bit, obviously very warm Gulf waters. Whether it becomes a named system or not, it doesn't have huge implications because it's still going to drop some really heavy rainfall as it continues to move west and then up towards the Gulf Coast states. So for Thursday, Friday, we're talking about real heavy rain, some isolated strong to severe thunderstorms in that area as well. What about our thunderstorm threat? Well, during the day today, there's not much, maybe an isolated storm or two. But what I'm showing you here is the 850 millibar temperatures. So we've got the temperatures at about 6,000 feet in the atmosphere. And what happens here is you notice that during the day on Wednesday, we actually get a little bit of a mid-level ridge, this little bump up. Do you see the oranges? Little warm layer here at the mid-levels of the atmosphere. So that tends to actually inhibit thunderstorm development. So for our Wednesday, despite the fact that it's going to be really hot, it is going to be humid, we have what's called a cap on the atmosphere. Think of it like this. When you have a cap on top of a soda bottle, right? If you shook it up, think of it like the atmosphere. If the cap was off, boom, you get the soda to come out, you get thunderstorms to develop. But when that cap is on, you shake up the atmosphere, but it doesn't really have anywhere to go. And that's happening during the day tomorrow. So I can't rule out an isolated storm, but I think most of us will be dry. During the day on Thursday, you notice that warmth and that little bit of a ridge is not over us anymore. We get this little dip that comes in. So Thursday is a day that will feature some thunderstorms. So our Wednesday, is mainly dry. It's hot. It's humid. That's the big weather story. The heat index goes 95 to 100 in spots. I'll show you that in a second. Thursday, don't focus on the exact placement here. There's a couple different things going on. There may be a round of some downpours and thunder in the morning. Then depending on how much sun breaks out, we get another round of scattered action during the afternoon. So bottom line is Thursday is a day to be weather aware. It's kind of classic thunderstorms that pop up. So not everyone's going to see a storm, but the risk is there. By the time we get to Friday, this cold front does slice in. You notice there's not a whole lot of action. We may get a couple storms that fire along it. Less humid air comes in. I have to say, Saturday looks amazing. That's the day we get into some briefly drier air, a blend of sun and clouds. We won't be as hot. And then by Saturday evening and night, there's going to be some action off to our west. So the biggest question is, where does this thunderstorm action go? It looks like as this warm front tries to return northward again, we may get some of this wet weather in by the time we get to Sunday. So right now, Saturday, by far, pick of the weekend. We'll watch the timing of that wet weather for the second half of the weekend on Sunday and keep you posted. All right, high temperatures for our Wednesday go into the 90s in many areas. The hottest spots, somewhere like the Merrimack Valley, southern New Hampshire, that's when you get the heat, the humidity combined. The predicted feels like goes 95 to 100 in many areas, all the way from the Lakes region, Champlain Valley, central Maine. So it's a day region-wide. You want to take it easy, of course. The south coast to Cape Cod, a little bit of relief. It's still going to be quite muggy, and the feels like temperature will be warmer than the actual air temperature. But the hottest spots feel like 93 to 100 degrees tomorrow. And there won't be a whole lot of relief at night. Low clouds, patchy fog fill back in. We'll be in the 70s in many areas, 60s in far northern New England. Another hot one on Thursday, not quite as hot as our Wednesday. 85 to 90 in many areas, again, with a round of showers and thunder in the morning, and then another round in the afternoon. Friday, still hot in southern New England, you notice. We may go 85 to 90. We do get relatively cooler air to come into far northern and western New England. And then Saturday, about 80 to 85, looks like a beautiful summer day. Here's the last thing I wanted to show you, the dew point forecast. Measure the amount of moisture in the atmosphere. So our Wednesday, it's still humid. When the dew point gets up, around or over 60, you feel it. It's up near 70, and that's a really soupy air mass. So that's with us during the day tomorrow. Here's our Thursday. Dew point's around 70 degrees, and that humidity fuels some of the thunderstorms. Woo, look at this. By Friday, drier air is coming in. Although it will start humid in the morning, particularly along the south coast and in southern New England, I do think we get this dry air to push in. And so some relief for the second half of Friday. And look at this on Saturday, dew points in the 50s in many areas, even some upper 40s. So that's the brief relief that we get that comes in. And then by Sunday, it looks like the dew point's going to climb back up. So we'll enjoy it on Saturday while we get that brief little break in the action in terms of the stickiness. Track it all, of course, with our app. Videos right at the top, hourly 14-day forecast. Our app is free on the App Store and Google Play. We'll see you at the beach and boating forecast for tomorrow, Wednesday, coming out in just a little bit.